Good afternoon. Welcome to Wheel of Justice. This is the first edition of the program. It is brought to you by the Abia State Administration of Criminal Justice Monitoring Committee and Prisoners Rehabilitation and Welfare Action PRAWA, with the support of the Open Society Initiative of West Africa, OSIWA, and the Abia State Justice Reform. Now, in 2017, there was a law adopted by the Abia State House of Assembly, and it was named the Abia State Administration of Criminal Justice Law. Now, the purpose of this is to ensure that the system of the law promotes efficient management of criminal justice institutions, enhance speedy dispensation of justice, protects the society from crime. It also protects the rights and interests of suspects, the defendant, and the victim. Now, this particular program will be covering different sectors. We'll be having, just like today, we'll be having those from the Office of the Attorney General. Also, we'll be looking at the judiciary just as a whole, and the police, the correctional facilities. It will also cover the family, civil defense, military, paramilitary, everything has to do with security, and every other actor when it comes to criminal justice. So, I do believe that you will stay tuned and listen. And when I come back, I will introduce my guest on the program. Welcome. Welcome back. Just as I told you earlier, this is Wheel of Justice. It is the first edition of the program. It is going to come your way every Tuesday from 3:30. Now, today on the show, the guest for today would be the Honorable Attorney General of Abia State, Chief Uche C. Ihediwa, but he is represented by Barrister Mrs. Ngozi Obioma, who is the Director of Public Prosecution. Welcome to our studios.
Thank you.
All right. Also seated right here is Kelechi Imo, who is the Associate Program Officer, Abia State. Though he's going to be on the quiet today, but he's definitely observing on behalf of his organization. It's good to have him in our studios here. All right. Now, quickly, let's go over to what we have for today. Now, I've given a bit of insight into this particular law, but I believe there are a lot of persons who might just be hearing this for the very first time. So I think it's just right for you to give an insight to what this law is all about. So for those who are hearing it for the very first time, they can better understand what this law is all about.
Yes, the Administration of Criminal Justice Law of Abia State 2017 is a domestication of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act,
all right,
2015. Of the Federation.
Okay.
And it takes the place of the civil procedure law, which was initially the procedural law when it comes to criminal prosecution.
Okay. So basically it's the idea behind this is just to make sure that we have speedy justice for everyone. All right. Now quickly, I'm going to move over. Now I want to understand the role when it comes to Ministry of Justice. Why are they into this particular program? Is there a gap that people should know about when it comes to the law?
Well, as I said earlier, the whole essence of the Acjl 2017 of Abia State is to ensure speedy prosecution of cases. And this responsibility is saddled on the office of the Honorable Attorney General of the state. It is true that there are other players when it comes to criminal prosecution, such as the police, the EFCC, and even the customs.
Okay.
But their powers are subject to the prosecutorial powers of the Attorney General of the state.
Okay. Now, it's good that we've gotten this one out of the way. Now, today we're focusing on the responsibilities of the Office of the Attorney General when it comes to the prosecutorial act or law, when it comes to this law, actually. Now, I'd love to start from this point, just so we get this out of the way. what is the responsibility of the Office of the Attorney General when it comes to this law?
Well, talking about the responsibility of the Office of the Attorney General, it is to see to the speedy dispensation of criminal matters in court, as far as this law is concerned.
All right.
But before I proceed, I want to point out that the responsibility of the Attorney General when it comes to criminal prosecution and his powers are derived from the Constitution.
Okay.
Section 211 of the Constitution empowers the Attorney General of a state to institute, to take over, to continue or discontinue with prosecution of cases.
All right. Now, at least this is something we understand, and the law has been adopted in Abia State in 2017. So far as we know, about 30 states in Nigeria have adopted the same law. And what do we say would be, who do we think is to gain from this law?
Well, let me start by saying that in line with the powers of the AG under the Constitution, the Administration of Criminal Justice Law of Abia State empowers the Attorney General, just as is provided in the Constitution, to take over prosecution, to file information, to issue legal advice and other directives to the police, to prosecute offenses in various courts.
All right.
These powers are contained in Part 10 to 11 of the Acjl. It is just like a replication of the same powers that are in Section 211 of the Acjl. Now, coming to who benefits, already in the course of your introducing this topic, you talked about the purpose of the law. The purpose of the law is contained in Section 2, subsection 1 of the law. The purpose is basically to see to the speedy dispensation and prosecution of cases in courts. And it is for the benefit of the victim of crime, the state, and the defendant. So everybody stands to benefit. You now ask, how would the state benefit from this law? You know, the state stands to benefit because when this law is being implemented, people get satisfaction, and it makes them to have confidence in the state. For the victim of crime, there are provisions for compensation. And for the defendant, you know that the Office of the Attorney General under Section 292 of this law has the power to discharge. So if there is no prima facie case against the defendant, that defendant will definitely be discharged. Now, to make this easier for anyone to understand, what you're trying to say is that this law is meant to serve everybody in the country. Exactly.
All right. Now, let's go over to the compliance level in the state when it comes to this law. We know in Nigeria as a whole, making the law isn't the problem. It is the execution of the law that is the problem. Now, what has been the compliance level of this law in the state?
You know, there are different players when it comes to the implementation of this law. We have the police, the judiciary, the correctional service, and the Office of the Attorney General. I will speak more on the level of compliance by the Office of the Attorney General. Yes. Substantially, we have complied with the provisions of this law, particularly when it comes to vetting of case files, filing of information, and recommending for discharge of those who, in the opinion of the Attorney General, should be discharged when there is no prima facie case against them.
All right. Now, away from the compliance level, just like you said, we're focusing on the office of the Attorney General. You just talked about the compliance level, but definitely, I know that there might be limits to this law. Can we note the limits that we might have when it comes to this law?
When you talk about limitation of the law, I would say it has subject matter limitation.
Okay.
In the sense that this law can only apply to offenses that are within the jurisdiction of the state. That is what I mean by subject matter jurisdiction.
All right.
That is, only state offenses are regulated by this law.
Okay.
It also has territorial limitation, in the sense that it is only applicable in Abia State.
All right.
Though there are other constraints when it comes to implementation of the law.
Okay.
Constraints such as infrastructure, manpower.
All right.
When I talk about infrastructure, the law provides that some facilities should be made available to the investigating authority.
All right.
That is the police.
Mm-hmm.
Such facility as recording system, electronic recording system,
Mm-hmm.
or video system.
Mm-hmm.
This is because sometimes when a defendant is brought to court,
All right.
they will allege that they made their confession under duress. But when this confession, or when these defendants are recorded electronically, they can hardly deny that is their statement. But it is unfortunate that most police commands do not have this facility. And when the prosecutor now wants to tender this confessional statement, the prosecutor run into difficulty because the defense counsel will raise objection that this piece of evidence was made under duress.
All right. And once that is raised, it makes the case go on for a longer time instead of having a speedy justice.
Yes, it affects it, yes.
All right. If you're just tuning in right now, I'm speaking with Barrister Mrs. Ngozi Obioma, who is the Director of Public Prosecution. She is representing the Honorable Attorney General of Abia State, Chief Uche C. Ihedowa, and this is the Wheel of Justice, brought to you by the Abia State Administration of Criminal Justice Monitoring Committee and Prisoners Rehabilitation and Welfare Action Prawa, with the support of the Open Society Initiative for West Africa, OSIWA, and Abia State Justice Reform. I have to go on a very quick break. When I do come back, would still have few more questions to ask. But hey, I will have to open the phone lines also for you to call in and ask questions that you might need answers to when it comes to the law. Just keep listening. Welcome back. This is Wheel of Justice, and don't forget again, it comes your way every Tuesday from 3:30. It's brought to you by the Abia State Administration of Criminal Justice Monitoring Committee and Prisoners Rehabilitation and Welfare Action Prawa, with the support of the Open Society Initiative for West Africa, OSIWA, and the Abia State Justice Reform. Now I'm speaking with Barrister Mrs. Ngozi Obioma, who is the Director of Public Prosecution. She is representing the Honorable Attorney General of Abia State, Chief Uche C. Ihedowa, who is unavoidably absent today. Now, today we'll be looking at the prosecutorial responsibilities of the Attorney General, Office of the Attorney General, when it comes to the speedy dispensation of the justice under the Administration of Criminal Justice Law. And so far, she's answered a couple of questions, to giving us insight to what the law is about. But very soon, I'll be opening up the phone lines for you to call in and asking questions you might want to ask pertaining to this law. The numbers are 0808 182 6949 or 0811 605 29 6949. Now, before I move into the go over to the phone lines, I'm gonna ask one more question before I open up the phone line, so you can ask your own questions. We talked about the limitations to this, and somewhat you found a way to bring in the challenges faced by the office. But just for the sake of stressing it, I'd love to understand better what challenges are faced, because in so far the law has been made in 2017, and the idea behind the law is to make sure that there's speedy dispensation of justice. But what we still have in the country is the fact that cases still linger on for much longer, which isn't the purpose of the law. So let's look at the challenges one more time. What are the other challenges that are faced by the office of the Attorney General?
We know that the administration of criminal justice law of Abia State is novel.
All right.
In the sense that it is an improvement upon the civil procedure law, as I stated earlier.
All right.
And of course, being that it is new, it is faced with a lot of challenges. I already mentioned the issue of infrastructure.
Okay.
In the same vein, I will also want to talk about the challenges faced by the correctional services, which also affects the office of the Attorney General.
Sorry, just when we say correctional services, we need to clear. Correctional services are what we used to call prisons.
The prisons, yes.
Right. Just to clarify that.
Yes.
Right.
The prisons.
Go on.
They experience lack of adequate operational vehicles.
All right.
You see, so they don't have enough vehicles to convey the inmates to court. And the office of the Attorney General may be ready to prosecute the matter, or is always, we're always ready to prosecute the matter, but then these inmates may not be produced. So it's a problem.
All right.
It's a big problem. And the cost of bringing witnesses to court, the Acjl made provision under section 249 for witness support fund. But that has not yet been fully implemented. And this places a huge financial burden on the prosecution, because sometimes the prosecution will now need to source for funds to ensure that the witness will be in court in order not to frustrate the matter. And then the uncertainty on the number of witnesses that may come to court to testify, poses difficulty in making a budget, for the witnesses. Another thing is personnel costs.
Okay.
What do I mean by personnel costs? You see, the huge demand of vetting of case files, of filing information within a specified time as provided by the Acjl makes it mandatory that we'll have enough hands to carry out these functions. But for this, I want to express my appreciation and thanks to our governor, Dr. Okezie Tikpazu, PhD, for increasing the staff strength of the Ministry of Justice since the inception of this law.
All right. Now, I'd love to open up the phone line so you can call in and ask whatever question you have pertaining to this law. Numbers again are 0808 182 6949 or 0811 605 2949. Hello.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Good evening to you. What's your name?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
My name is Benzima. I'm calling from a 5 State.
All right, go on. Ask your question, please.
I want to ask Barrier a simple question.
I'm sorry, we lost you. If you can, please do call back. We'd love to get your question. Again, it is 0808 182 6949 or 0811 605 2949. If you'd love to ask a question pertaining to this law and how it affects you where you are, please do go on and ask this question. Now, while we wait for other calls to come in, now we did talk about this law being the novel one. I'm going to have to hold on to that question while I take this call. Okay, lost that one. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. Good afternoon. What's your name?
Good afternoon. My name is Azubike.
Azubike, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Umahia.
Azubike, quickly, please don't ask your question.
Yes, my question has to do with presentation of cases before the court.
Presentation of what?
Cases before the court.
All right.
Criminal cases before the magistrate court.
All right.
Yes. How does this law help in facilitating the trial of accused persons who are brought before magistrates?
Okay.
And who in turn orders that this file should be sent to Attorney General's office?
All right. Thank you.
Eventually, the accused persons will be remanded in prison custody.
All right.
Especially in capital offenses.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. I think you got that question?
Yes.
All right.
Yes. When it comes to capital offenses, we all know that the magistrate court lacks jurisdiction. And the law provides that a remand form will be brought alongside with the defendant, and then the magistrate will have to remand this person and order that the case file be transmitted to the office of the Attorney General. And the law provides that within 7 days of the date of remand, or from the date of remand, that this case file must be transmitted to the office of the Attorney General for vetting and possible prosecution if there is a prima facie case against the defendant. But now there is a new practice direction by the Honorable Chief Judge of Abia State, Honorable Justice Ogwe, that before a defendant can be remanded, that the police officer must come with the case file to court, so that as soon as the order of remand is made, the case file is left with the court administrator, who is now mandated to transmit same to the office of the Attorney General for vetting and prosecution.
All right, the phone lines are still ringing at this moment, but I do apologize. We can't take any more calls because we are out of time. But quickly, I'd love to say thank you very much, Barrister Mrs. Ngozi Obioma, for coming to the show today. Thank you very much. It's an honor to have you here.
Thank you.
She is the Director of Public Prosecution. She is representing the Honorable Attorney General of Abia State, Chief Uchesi Ihedua, who is unavoidably absent right now. And don't forget, this is Will of Justice, and is brought to you by the Abia State Administration of Criminal Justice Monitoring Committee and Prisoners Rehabilitation and Welfare Action Prawa, with the support of the Open Society Initiative of West Africa, OSIWA, and Abia State Justice Reform. It comes your way Tuesdays from 3:30 p.m. Thank you very much, and hopefully we'll get to hear from you again next week. My name remains Ifeanyi Awa. Do have a great day ahead.